What's poppin', guys? Aether here. First of all, I want to thank everyone for all the support. I know for a 100 subscriber special, this video is a little late, but I'm glad I can say it was late. Thank you guys so much. So I've decided for today's video to celebrate the game's upcoming release. I'll give you a look at the steps the game has gone through from start to finish, and even a look into possible futures the game had. So let's get started and I'll explain what I mean. So, in the video about Zenith I did a while back, and I'll link to that in a card up to the top right, I mentioned a lot of characters and concepts from that game were carried over into Astronomica, but there's a very definite moment where the game was branching off into its own identity. So the very first version of the game was named Epsilon. Why Epsilon, you may ask? I thought it sounded cool. Now, most of the core gameplay concepts have actually stayed practically the same from Epsilon to the current version of Astronomica, so there's not much I can show you there in how the game's changed, but what you're seeing now on screen are some of the earliest playtesting and testing cards I made for the game to get my idea down in card form. As you can see, the concept of the planets generating these resources that cards take when they're played on them, that stayed pretty much the same even from the very start here with these bland gray cards. Now showing you the second iteration of Epsilon, I think you'd find this seems way closer to Astronomica. This iteration introduces the factions with the Kakita's Council, the Legion Corps, and the Babylon Force, and it has a lot of characters you may have seen in various videos. So this one's relatively close to when I was getting and approaching the idea of what I wanted Astronomica to be when it was realized. But progress on Epsilon stopped just so I could focus on class, and I took a bit of a break on card games as a whole. Now, Astronomica was born when I got the familiar urge to get back to creating stuff again once I was free over the next summer I had. And typically, I would just make a jank RPG Maker game and call it a day, but I was back into card games for a bit and remembered the project I was working on earlier that year. So I went back into it and started working on Epsilon again. So, when I was back into it, I posted this image on a few social media channels teasing the stuff I had been working on, and got back to work a little on the project. Now, as I said before, the second version of Epsilon was actually just something I was passively working on a bit over the course of the school year for a little bit, and the grind for Astronomica didn't really start until late summer, where I posted this, the first public logo for the game, and it's not really a looker. Now, the hard part about showing beta cards for the game of Astronomica is that I never really changed the template that much. I tweaked a few small details here or there, but the main structure and concept of it has stayed the same. So the main thing I can show you here is the transition in artwork. Now, as I mentioned in probably all of my other retrospective videos, I haven't been an artist for long, and I made a lot of progress from when I started working on the game, like in the second phase of Epsilon at the start of the year, towards even the last couple of weeks as I've been polishing a few cards in the set. So here you'll see a few cards like Psychic Storm, Rowdy Infantry, Astral Ballista, the Planet of Troy, Ibis Vale, and even Alice Church, who've undergone multiple character design changes in just Astronomica alone. As I mentioned, I progressed a lot as an artist. To be honest, I had every card in set 1 of Astronomica done in November, but all these extra months have been to polish the game a bit more before launching. At the end of the day, I am only one person, and I didn't want to keep myself from holding the game back in chasing perfection, but I wanted to polish it more so that you guys wanted to make sure it was the best for you guys. Now, set 2. If you watched my channel update, you've already gotten a bit of a sneak peek at what the real set 2 is going to be about, but right now I want to go over a few scrapped ideas I had for him. Now, the first set 2 idea was GALA, Den of Thieves. This set was going to be a very small set that came out quickly after set 1. The set focused on the major characters going to a planet filled with gambling and degeneracy. This set was scrapped because first of all, it's a really weird follow-up to set 1, makes no sense story-wise, and honestly, I didn't really have any interesting ideas that would stem from gambling anyway. Not any that would be fun, at least. But who knows, maybe I'll touch upon it at some point. Now the second set 2 set idea, say that 10 times fast, was for a set called CASTERHULL, a steampunk world where the factions would clash on their search for Elysium here. The aesthetic was going to be fully steampunk inspired, with a focus on airships and the characters of Alice Church and Ibis Vale. Well, this was scrapped for kind of a similar reason to GALA. I tried too hard to kind of mirror the plane hopping aspect of Magic where each world is different. I don't think that fits the game, and trying to force that into the game was kind of a negative. You know, you gotta play to your own game strengths, I think. That doesn't mean I don't think a set could take place on just one planet, just that it has to make sense as to why it does. And also, having a set which focuses on a regress in technology makes no sense in a universe this advanced. It's just not something that makes sense story-wise. Now the third, and last set 2 concept I want to touch on is one called Crucible of Fates. Now I don't want to go into too much detail about this set, mainly because I might still use ideas from it. But here's a look at what the pack art was kind of drafted to be like. A few cards were kind of drafted for this set, a few ideas I came up with and might still be reworked, and I don't want to give away any story here because I might still use it, but I just wanted to mention it to give you guys a taste of what might be coming in the future. But that's going to do it for today's video. Again, I just want to repeat, thank you guys so much for all the support for Astronomica and the channel in general. I wanted to give you guys a look at the past, present, and potential future of the game, and I wouldn't have made it here without all of your support. And it's not just support for my game, but support for all the games I open up on the channel, and I plan to keep doing that into the future. So as always, thanks for tuning in. And if you liked it, like it. If you loved it, please consider subscribing. And I hope to see you guys again next time.